Hey guys, welcome back. We're doing a really quick video today just to show you how to restring one of these shade screen combos for the Revel, or if you have an RV that has something similar to this. The reason we're doing this is one of the strings broke on the screen of our slider door window, and when we called Dometic to see if we could get either a replacement screen or a kit to restring it or some way to fix it ourselves, they said there's no way to fix it. They don't offer kits, they don't offer repair, kind of on our own. So Brian naturally figured out how to do this himself. He found the exact kit on what you'll need to purchase to be able to fix this yourself. So instead of having to buy a whole new window system just to be able to get your screen to work, we're going to show you how to do it yourself.
Okay, impromptu video. Hi, it's Brian with Brian and Marish. We have a YouTube channel where we're traveling in our 4x4 Sprinter, and we travel internationally, and we also travel domestically here in the United States. And so we just want to put together a channel that's informative, not only in the travel aspect, but also from a van life perspective. The places that we go, we try to get good details so you can really get a good idea of what the Dominican Republic is like, or what Baja is like, as some examples that we've been. And if any of you own a RV or any type of Sprinter or van, there's always things going wrong. So what I was going through today was fixing our shade screen combo. You move it up and it's a screen, you pull it down, it's a shade. And one of the strings blew out on that, which is very common, no big deal. I couldn't find a video, I didn't look super hard, but I couldn't find a video specifically for the screen and shade combo. And so I literally had to take it apart myself and figure out exactly how it works. And it's very different than some of the videos I had watched where you have a day and night. And so I wanted to just do a promptu video because I know this is going to be helpful to a lot of people to speed up their learning process. If they have a similar situation, you can check this out, and I'll get into some detail. It'll probably be a little janky video, but I just wanted to do it real quick before I did the second side. So I've already done one side to it, which is the shade side, and so I'm going to do the screen side, and I'm going to video that portion of it, and they're both identical. All right, wanted to do a quick description of how to actually take the shade off the wall of your RV, or in this case it's a Revel. It's a Dometic shade that we're rebuilding, and so I just wanted to show you really quickly how to actually take this off the wall. So you'll look at the corners and you'll notice you'll have a little slit, and this just pulls straight out, and then you'll see a screw. So it's as simple as that. You'll have one of these on all four corners, and they just pull out like this, and then you'll see that screw that needs to be undone. So that's one. So there's four of those in each corner. So one there, and then there's one down there as well. And then when you open it up, you'll notice right there's another screw, and there's one of those in each corner of the shade also. And when you take that off, you will have the whole shade removed from the wall. So there's basically 8 screws, 4 on the outside and 4 on the inside, that need to be removed. Shade will come off, and then you can start that rebuilding process. What I've already taken it apart. And one of the challenges right out of the gate was just finding a repair kit. And they have these universal repair kits, and this one is the pleated shade first aid kit. Okay, so that's United Shade. What you get in there are a few springs, these, which we did not use in my particular setup, and this is a universal kit. And then you have some grommets, which are these plastic grommets if you need to replace those. A lot of them are metal, I think, in the accordion shades or pleated shades. And then you get 5 bundles of string, and this is the string that you see that runs through the actual shades themselves. So that's what I needed mainly, but I ended up using some of these grommets. The way that this particular shade system works, it's very different. It does not use springs like this if you have a screen and shade combo. So this is what we have here. And I've taken it apart, and you'll get a better shot from the camera above. But you'll see this is the shade component of it, and this is the screen component of it. Those are the corner pieces, and this is the edge piece that I had taken off. Now I have it upside down, meaning the back of the shade is facing towards me. I'd recommend flipping it over, but I was already into it. I already taken some things apart, and I wasn't going to mess with it the way that it's sitting right now. But these corner pieces right here come off. There's 2 screws in them. So when you look at the outside of it, you'll notice that there is a screw hole right there and a screw hole right there. 2 screws takes this off. You'll also notice that there is a screw that allows you to adjust the string right there. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. But the screws that come out of that are as follows. Keep in mind, make sure you have the appropriate type of screwdriver. So this is a star. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. I don't know what that is. I didn't look it up. So these are the 2 screws that pull that out. And so there's 2 in each corner. This piece will come off, and it comes apart very easily once you take those 2 screws out. So with that being said, you'll notice that I have these crossed over. The white one is the new one, the black one is the old one. Once I got in here, started doing this, I'm like, oh gosh, I have it all apart. I might as well just take it and do both sides and replace all the strings. I only had one of the strings blow out, but it only takes one for it not to work. Just as FYI. I decided just to say, hey, okay, I've already done the top shade part. Now I'm going to do the screen part, and then I'll film it from up above. We'll probably do a little quick time lapse on it, so you don't have to watch me go slow with it. But I will walk through exactly what's going on, and that way you can see and hear exactly what to do. So once you've taken it apart, depending on kind of what's happened to you, where it's broken. Mine was just one of the strings, and if you can see up above here, one of the strings that came through here had broken. And that just connects. These crisscross, so don't forget that. When you take this apart, I lay all my screws out so I know exactly where all the screws go and which corners they go into to keep everything organized. And when you take these apart, these do crisscross. So make sure that you put them back together in the same way. So with this, what you have to do, this is the outer frame right here, and this is the portion that goes up and down and closes. Now there's 2 little end caps to this, and there's a magnet that runs through the center. You do need a little screwdriver, so a flathead is what I'm using, and you'll notice right here it's starting to peel up a little bit. And you just pry that up. Once that glue is kind of released, then there's a screw, which is actually a smaller screw than what we had before. So it's the same star pattern, but it's a smaller gauge. And that's right in the end of it. So you take that, go in here, unscrew that. Pretty easy and quick to do. And then, by the way, if you do have a sprinter, you'll need to get these sets of screwdrivers anyway, because they're all throughout the entire sprinter van. And it'll pay off in the long run if you have to do anything to the actual van itself, to where you'll need to take a screw out. It's going to be one of those. So just an FYI, you'll need that for that. And so I'm just prying the glue off. Once the glue releases, this will just come straight off just like that. And you'll need to do that to both sides. So I haven't busted the glue loose yet on this side, but I'm going to take the screw out. And I don't know if we're going to be able to fast forward this or not, but hopefully not fumble through this too much. And I'm going to set this over here next to my other screw so I can keep track of those. And then I'm going to break that glue loose. Try not to damage it. Thing is you might have some rattles in your shades. They don't glue any of this. Dometic doesn't glue anything from here to here, only these end caps. So this will rattle when these are connected. So if you want to fix that, you may want to just apply a little bit of glue along here as well, and that'll hold that in place and keep it from rattling. Not want to let go, but we're almost there. There we go. So that lets go there, and that just comes right off. There's an accordion, So this is the screen, and then you'll notice right there the two little slits. So that just goes right in there. So when you put it back together, and it slips in that way. Now these not only cross on this side, so corner, corner, but they also, when this string goes in, I have a string here, and I have a string here. This string goes in, crosses over again to this side. So crosses this, but also crosses over to this side and comes into here. Same with this. This black one I'm going to replace over here. I've taken the end cap off. You saw me do that. That string comes in and then comes down here. Now this top part here is the main outside rim, or frame, I guess, edge, if you will, I don't know. And there's a spring in here. So as this will slide, pretty easy. There's nothing holding it on. Once you take these corner pieces off, this just slides really, really easy. So let me slide this over, and that's the spring. Now, here's the problem I had with mine. That string goes through, and they put a little kind of lead clamp on there, and instead of tying a knot, and then that goes through this spring right here. So you can see it's just a spring. There's nothing on the top and bottom of it. There's a little grommet in the screen itself that it goes through, and then it goes through there. Then it would go crisscross over, and then it connects to that. Okay? So to release it, which I'm going to do, you just grab this corner piece, and you see that little screw I told you I was going to talk about later? See if I can get focused on there. You're going to loosen up that screw, and when you have it in your hand, you'll realize what's going on there. Super simple. You just loosen that screw all the way, as far as it'll go. If it falls out, no problem, but make sure there's none of it hanging in there, because when you go to put the new string through, you need the full circle hole, the full hole to be able to get that through. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting with it if that screw's kind of screwed in at all. So I'm going to take it off the end cap here, leave the end cap there so I don't forget to lace it through there. I'm going to pull it straight through, and it's out. And I have the spring in my hand that came with the, I'm not using the emergency kit or the first aid kit spring. I'm going to use the original spring, and I just took this out. So with that, now that I have this out and I've done it once, what I'm going to do is measure these, and I want to give myself enough room to tie this, which I'll show you here in a second. So I'm going to go, I don't know, 3-4 inches over. Go down here, and this is the one that's already there. And I'm going to cut this off. And this is a plastic, it's an artificial material, so you want to burn, just melt the end so it doesn't fray. So I'm going to leave the spring here. We're going to go through here. I'm going to put it through the corner end cap. That went in super easy, which is awesome. I tighten this down a little bit just so I can adjust it still, but it doesn't like fall out. So you can still kind of pull it. There's a little friction on it. That way when you're kind of messing around with it, you can pull it through. There we go. And I haven't adjusted this yet, so I'll have to figure that out, but I'm just stringing it right now. So that goes there. Now I'm going to go through the end cap. A little bit of a glue substance that's on there, and I'm not sure if they intentionally put that to create some friction and some drag. But that can get in the way. One of them I couldn't get the string through because it was on there, so I just kind of took it off. But it's just more like sticky lint, if nothing else. So now that we took the end caps on, you'll notice that this slides super easy too. So what we want to do is we want to take our string, and there's a channel that slides through, and we're just going to push this through that channel. End cap is here. I've already gone through that, so I didn't forget that. Because you don't want to forget that and then lace this through the screen or the shade and then realize and tie it off on the spring and then realize that you need to put it through the end cap. So make sure you don't forget that end cap. And this has a lot of room in there. I've done 2 of them and I haven't come across an issue with it making it through yet. So we'll see how this one goes. And I'm just pushing it through. We should be getting close, I hope. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we got it right here. And this is where it went. I don't know if you can see it on that camera up there or not. This is where it went through. Now, what I found is that the easiest way to get this pushed through is to scrunch this together, get all those holes lined up. And I have a feeling the screen is going to be harder than the shade. The shade's a little bit stiffer, but we'll see how this goes. So I have it clamped together, and that should line up those holes. And then I just I was moving around the shade, kind of unclamping it. This might need to go one at a time, though, it's going to suck. The shade, they're already punched out, so there's actually a hole there. Yeah, this is going to take some time. So the screen, no fun, because there's too much friction in there. Go ahead and pause this. That is a lot trickier than the shades part, but I did figure out a way to do it to make it pretty darn easy. It took me maybe like 10 minutes to get through. A lot more accordions in there than you think, actually. But I had to do 2 at a time. I just pinched 2 together at a time and then laced it through. What I did is I took the lighter and I just kind of hardened the last ½ an inch. Just kind of not melt it too much, but just kind of harden it just like when you do the end so it doesn't fray. And it makes it a lot stiffer and it allows it to go through the screen a heck of a lot easier. So, and also I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but you probably noticed this is a white string and I'm taking black out. The repair kit that we got our hands on was white string, and I didn't necessarily care one way or the other. I just wanted to get it fixed, and I don't know that anyone's really going to notice all that much. So you do have different color choices for the repair kit, or the first aid kit as they call it. So if you want to have black or you want to have white, and I don't know if there's a almond or something like that, but nonetheless, back to it. So we have run it from the corner piece here. We went through the end cap, we went through the rail, crossed over to the other opposite side of the corner piece, and now we want to put it in the spring. So when I took a look at this spring, I don't have any clamps like the original one had that I showed you earlier, which is like this, and that's what keeps it from going through this spring. It gets caught on there. So they have these grommets, and they just so happen to fit perfectly, perfectly in the spring. So it fits just absolutely perfectly in that spring. So what I did is I pushed this through the spring, through the grommet, and then once you do that, you can just tie a knot, like a double knot in that string, and it will not go through that grommet. So you don't need the clamper to do that. You can use this first aid kit and that grommet to be able to tie a knot and keep that from going through. So let me go ahead and do that. Not an awesome knot tire. I wish I had my buddy Steve-O here to show me how to tie a good knot. And then I kind of double up on it. There's plenty of room up here in this frame to be able to put a 2 knot in there. So I just kind of put 2 double knots in here. That way if one of them rattles loose, which it shouldn't, but if it did, I got 2 of them. So then you pull this straight, and I'll get a close-up of that. So now what we've done, you'll notice it's through the screen here, and then you'll see that spring get caught right on there, on the grommet that's already in this. So hopefully you can see that, and I put 2 knots in there. Pretty much got that side done, and then you're going to repeat that on the other side. So I laid the spring down right here, and then you move the frame back over it, make sure the knots are in there, and this will slide right over it like so. Then this slides. This is the other string that crosses, so this slides back to there. And then this is crossed over there. So now as we put this back together, what we'll need to do is end cap will go on here. Again, just another reminder that these need to be crossed. These corner pieces need to be crossed. We can adjust the tension with this screw once we get it all put back together. Once I get it back together, I got to figure out, exactly how to adjust it. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty obvious as far as the tension goes. And that reminds me to keep those crossed. So now I have one more to do on this side. Then we're going to put it all back together. So, just a quick recap. And pay attention to the string length, especially if you have a blowout. More than likely, not all the strings are going to break all at once. So what I did is I paid attention. I replaced the string, and you get, like I said, you can do all 4 strings, and this is a pretty good, this is the slider door window. So this is the bigger window. And you can do all 4 strings with just one of these bundles. So there's a lot of string in there and a lot of availability. So you don't need to worry about one bundle that's doing one line. It should do, unless it's a really, really big window, it should do the entire 4. I have 2 strings in the top and 2 strings in the bottom, and it was enough to do all 4 of them. So stay tuned. I'm going to do this other side, so I'm going to cut you loose, edit that in, and then I'm going to put it back together. But it's pretty easy. There's 2 screws in each corner that need to be taken out. There's a screw in each end cap of the inside piece where you actually grab it to move either the shade or the screen. There's 1 screw here, 1 screw here, 1 screw here, and 1 screw here. So there's, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 screws that you have to take out. It's pretty simple. Just lay everything out so you don't forget where everything goes. Specifically these end caps, make sure you get that screen through there so you don't forget to do that when you get it all set up. And then we'll get this back together and walk you through the end of it. So I just finished that second side. It's kind of funny when you do these type of things for the first time, you always figure out a better way to do it. So I even had a better way of going through the screen is hardening that string just like I did before. Pinch half of them together and that'll jam right through, and then pinch the other half and it'll jam right through instead of doing every single one together. So let's see if we can get this thing back together. So we're going to put the end caps on. This end cap's already on. Goes in there. These are crossed over. This end cap needs to go on. And then we need to get this same distance here. Here's your end piece, and there's a curvature to it. So make sure that matches up front versus back. And again, I'm looking at the outside of the shade if you're standing outside the vehicle, or the side that pushes up against a slider door. And then it just slides on. If you can get them both on there at the same time, that's probably the trickiest part, is getting them both on there at the same time. So both strings go in here in this channel, and then the end cap that we put on the bottom of the visor as well as the rail for the screen also slides in there. And then you have to tuck the accordion in that channel as well, and then you fit it onto the end cap. So it's a little touchy. You have a couple moving parts going on. Everything falls out as you move things around, so you got to pay attention that everything's together when you finally get that cap on. So it's looking pretty good. Then we put the screws in. And it seems right now, since the first time I've done this, kind of putting the screws in, don't try to like put it all together and just have it sit there. It's kind of like put one corner on first, put the screw in to hold it, and then go to the next one. That seems to be working best. Like so. And these come on, these go in really easy. These strings will go right in this groove right here. All right, there we go. Let's figure out how to adjust these bad boys.